In this video, let's look at how you can convert Meraki Manage access point, specifically Wi-Fi 7 access point, into a controller manage. Cisco introduced this feature, you can do it by yourself. In the past, if you want to do this conversion from Meraki to 9800 manage, you have to involve Meraki tag. So now if you have a Wi-Fi 7 access point, they allow you to do it by yourself. So now what you need to do is you need to go to your wireless access point and you select your Wi-Fi 7 access point. In my case, I have a 9172 access point. I have selected that. You can see migrate to WLC option is there. So you can simply click that and it asking confirmation, like manage one access point to WLC manage. You can say just migrate this access point. So now migrating device signal reboot, that's okay, we will migrate. So now what's happening while this migration happen, so I have basically connected that I'm taking packet capture. Let me just take stop this capture and restart. So now this is basically capturing everything on that particular AP connected port. So let me just show here, I have configured a span port. So my port number 1 connected to that Meraki access point. So now while that's happening, I'm sure it's basically rebooting or basically loading the new image. And this is the sort of a port 19 connected computer. I'm taking the packet capture on that one. Okay. So now we will see whether that AP, I can see, AP is rebooting. You can see, it's trying to generate some traffic, let's wait. Still I can see CDP, this kind of layer 2 traffic. So now port point of view. So run interface 10.1/0/1. It's configured for a trunk port on native VLAN 232. So this should get IP address in the 232 range. I think he's already got IP address. You can see Meraki access point. It's got IP address. So I don't expect to, now I have a 9800 controller available. So I'm not expecting, it to know about this controller. Let's see what's the way we can bring it here. So I think it is trying different method, we will go into that later, how it's trying to find out the controller. You can see Capwap control. So it is sending to broadcast address. So now AP is trying to Capwap control traffic. You can see it's trying to discover the controller. So now my controller is in a different network. In that way, it is not within the same subnet. So now in here, if I go to the controller, so I have 2 access points, but these 2 access points are different model. Okay, so that is not 9172. So now what we need to do is actually I can close this message. So then from the Meraki dashboard, this AP should be disappeared because we already now it should no longer available here. You can see it is down. It is no longer there. So now what's the way to actually we can bring this AP? So now in the switch, so one thing you can do is not very commonly used. So show IP interface brief. Now I have 232 VLAN. Okay. So now my access point does not know how to go to that 130 network to register. Okay, so you can still what I will do is I will basically use what we call broadcast forwarding method. You can see here it's broadcast traffic coming here. So I can tell here for this particular switch, momentarily forward this broadcast traffic to the controller. Okay. So now what you need to do is, to config T IP forward protocol. So you can by default, whenever you configure a help address, they forward certain number of port. Okay. But Capwap is not one of that port number. So now what I want to do is I want to temporarily forward UDP, UDP 5246, 5246. That's what I want to, which is the Capwap control traffic. Now, if I do that, so this will basically forward the UDP 5246. So where I need to forward this traffic is to my control IP address, which is 192.168.130.20. So what I can do is I can go to the interface VLAN 232. I can say IP help address 192.168.130.20. So now once I do this, you will able to see. So now this traffic should go to the controller and AP should be able to find out the controller. Let's see. Now I did that. Now let's minimize this and bring it here. Now Capwap, you can see the discovery response came. Probably now it is, you can see it is registering. Hello, verify certified. Now this is the AP registration process. Okay, so now application data. That means this is now AP is trying to get the image from the 9800 controller. Now if I go to the 9800 controller, CLI, show AP summary, you can see this new AP now downloading. Okay, so now that's the one cool method available. Sometime when you're troubleshooting, if you have struggled to get the AP registered for particular controller, now sometime AP can be in branch location. It does not have DNS modification or DHCP option 43 modification. As long as you have access to the layer 3 switch where this AP management VLAN defined, you can configure that. So now this can be a a temporary configuration measure. You don't want to basically forward all traffic to this control IP address. In that way, you can remove that command once you get the AP registered, and you can remove the UDP forward protocol as well. So I'll leave the rest of the configuration. So I just removed whatever the configuration I did for this step. In that way, now once the let me make sure we will wait for the AP completely registered, fully registered. So now you can see now AP is rebooting. You can see we don't see any traffic anymore. Now let's give some time. We can confirm it's not here as well. Still it's not registered. So now, typically now once you commit to the 9800 controller, what is come to the controller, you will see you may not have a country code associated. Now with this Wi-Fi 7 access point from Cisco, now they're basically releasing without a country code, regulated domain. You have to configure country code. once you join the controller. Okay, without using the country code, radios won't be active. You can't enable any SSIDs on that. Okay, so still AP is rebooting. So it is a quite simple process, but what we did actually took a packet capture to understand the process. Sometime AP registration, like it's a multiple different method available. It's good to know what different options are available and how can you basically pointing a AP to a controller even without you have access to the AP console. Now, one time, like even AP registered to this controller, it should remember this controller detail. Still, it's sending a broadcast. Even now the switch is not forwarding the broadcast. Ideally, it should remember the previous controller it joined. It should come back to this controller. Okay, so without our help address as well. But if it is not coming, probably we have to again help the AP. You can say it's sending a Capwap control, but no response is coming. I think probably until you can see Capwap discovery request is sending, but no response coming. Why? Because I think I just removed that broadcast forwarding, maybe too quick. Because initially when you download and reboot, it may be not remembering that detail. Okay, so let me just go back and enable that command little bit to help, IP forward protocol. It looked like, first time it did not remember that detail. So let me go to the interface VLAN 232 and enable forward protocol IP help address with this command. Now, once you do that, probably you should immediately see the discover response came. Okay. Now it should be basically in the controller. You can see show AP summary. It is already registered, so now it says registered, it's already identified as a -C and Australia 9172. So that may be I need to find it out, how it automatically get that detail, I don't think when in the Meraki side it knows that. This one really should be the way. But now one thing you can do is, now if you want to make sure, now in here if you refresh, so you have that controller here, AP here. Now if you go to the configuration of the access point, configuration and access point, I would like to basically it to remember this controller. Okay, that way we don't want to put that broadcast discovery method. So now in here, if you go to the high availability, you can see there are nothing here. So I want to configure this controller as the primary controller. So now this controller's name detail you can get from here. It should be here, WLC2, and IP address is 192.160.20. So I will go ahead and configure high availability section. I will say WLC2 and 192.168.130.20, and I will update and apply. Let's give a name as well. Let's say this AP name is 9172. Let's say this is AP 172, just to aligning with the AP name, other AP name I use. Okay, so now even if I basically remove those particular CLI command and reboot the access point, this should, I will go ahead and remove this command and remove that other command as well. No IP help address, no IP forward protocol. So now I remove these two commands. I will go ahead and shut down and no shut. I want to make sure still you see Wireshark is running, and just so now interface 10 gig 1/0/1 shut and no shut. You can see traffic has been stopped on the Wireshark. When I shut the port and now no shut, still I think it's got IP address. Now you can see its application data, it's already, it should be in the, so now in here, if I go to configuration access point, just to make sure it's there, you can see its uptime is 2 minutes, that's tally with association uptime is 14 seconds. That means just registered, So in that way, doing this conversion is easy. In that way, show AP summary. You can see it is there. Now we don't have the IP forward protocol kind of command. It's already registered. That's what we need. So in case, if your AP did not really come with the right regulatory, you can go ahead and configure access point regulatory domain under AP join profile. So now if I want to broadcast any SSIDs, what you can do is, configuration access point, you go to your access point, you change the your tag values. Okay. So now in my case, if I want to put the same kind of tag, policy tag Wi-Fi 7, site tag Wi-Fi 7, RF tag 1, I can manually assign. This is a lab environment. This may be not the best way to do it in the large scale, but at least I can give the same tag assignment. That will reset the Capwap. It will not reboot the AP. Just to make sure you see that, you can see AP should not rebooted, while this is happening. When you change in the tag, it will be reset the Capwap rather than completely rebooting. You can see it did not really restart the access point. That's another important thing to remember. Whenever you change the tag values in the 9800 controller, it will reset the Capwap. Okay, so reset the Capwap. Now if you go back and check once it comes here, so you can see the AP uptime still remain 4 minutes, but Capwap association time is 0 minute and 3 seconds. That means Capwap has been reset, but uptime still, AP uptime still remain 4 minutes because AP did not reboot it. So this is another important aspect to understand what's happening. Sometime if you have a client disconnection, check whether the control association time versus the AP uptime. If AP rebooted due to some switch failure, switch PO issue, you will see the uptime is low. That means AP has been rebooted. That's a different troubleshooting path compared to Capwap reset. That can be a different problem. Okay, but in our case, basically we force the Capwap to reset because we change the tag value. So that way now, just to basically stop this capture, I will stop this capture here. Now later on, now if you want to search Capwap, you will be able to see the Capwap point of view what happened. Now we initially saw a long period of time it basically trying to send discovery messages, but no responses came. Okay, it sent to the Capwap into a broadcast address, but in our case those broadcast traffic is not forwarding beyond VLAN 232. Then we introduced that IP forward protocol and integrating UDP 5246, because this Capwap traffic, if you look at destination port will be 5246. That's why we forward the 5246 to the control IP address. Once you do that, you can see it basically getting responses from our controller, and it went through the DTLS tunnel establishment phase. Okay, so this is verifying the Cisco AP. Typically, it providing all the detail, and then controller verified it's a valid access point, and it registered. Once it registered, we go through the imaging process. Okay, and then download the right image from the 9800 controller, and it able to register. So whenever Meraki basically initially when user basically instructed to convert into 1900 manage, I'm sure AP had some kind of image that controller manage kind of firmware, in that way that once it booted from that particular image, your AP is looking for a controller. Okay, so I hope this video help you, but I'll try to do a kind of blog post summarizing this and giving bit more, links, even this packet capture. I can link to that particular post. In that way, if you want to understand, all the process of AP joining registration, you can use this packet capture. Okay, I hope this video helpful when it come to converting Meraki manage to the 9800 manage. And if you are struggling to basically get that AP registered to a non-controller, what I did using that UDP method, and then basically I hard coded primary controller and the IP address. Some of those detail will be valuable. Okay, so until I meet you in another video, take care.